Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, What Mandy Made Next. Today is Friday the 6th of April, 6th of May 2022, and yeah, I'm a little bit late uploading, so I do apologise about that. So this is a vlog or a podcast all about my crafting and the projects that I get involved in with fibres and threads. So let's start. I usually have 10 projects in my rotation. These are various projects that involve different crafts such as knitting, or it could be cross stitch, and I devote different days to these certain crafts. This helps me with my muscles, you know, I'm not using the same muscles all the time, and also eye strain, which, you know, some projects I need to look more closely at, such as the cross stitch. Although I do have magnifiers, you know, I do get pain in my neck, so I could only perhaps work on cross stitch for a few hours on a certain day. So to help me keep track of my projects, I use a diary. That's why I call it a diary of creative crafting. And I have been a little bit lax with it, but for me, I have completed all my days. Although I did make a mistake and missed out one of the days, so I've had to scrub out some of the days and relabel them. But never mind, I know where I am. So hopefully this will help to keep me on track. So I paid for a subscription a few months ago now to join the Pretty Stitches Club, which is facilitated by Lauren from Molly and Mama. So the Pretty Stitches Club, you get not only the pattern, you get access to resources, Facebook group as well, and also you get videos from Lauren showing you how to put certain projects together, should I say, support. So if you're interested, go and have a look at the Pretty Stitches Club. I'll pop a link in down below. I've really enjoyed some of the projects so far. What can I say as well is, although I joined when it first started, if you join now, you will get access to the back catalog, you know, the catalogue of patterns. So if you join now, you will get, say, January, February and March. So, you know, you're not going to miss out. But I must say, I've really do love her aesthetic. So on the Tilly's table runner, there are 3 hexagons that are embroidered. So you have to download the pattern, which I did. And then I've never done this before, so I bought this special pen, and it's called the Hot Iron Transfer Pen, and it's a medium tip. I didn't realise they did different tips. Had I known that, I would have purchased the finer one. But anyway, lesson learned. So you trace over the pattern, basically, with this pen. And the idea is that you get your linen, pop the transfer on top, and then iron over it with a hot iron. So the first one I embroidered was this. Now I did use satin stitch on the flowers because I found that a little bit easier. But on the second one, because there's 3 different templates for this, on the second one I used the stitches that Lauren suggested. So I'm really happy with this. I'm really pleased. I've got one more to do. So I've got a little bit of linen here ready. And what I did is I purchased a little tiny hoop from Hobbycraft. So that's there's lots of stores in the UK called Hobbycraft, and they're also online. So yeah, I ordered a little, I purchased a little plastic hoop, and I found that a little bit easier for doing these little embroidered pieces on. So like I say, I've got one more to do, and then I start the actual English paper piecing with the other templates. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully in a couple of weeks time I'll have a completed table run or near to completion. But I mean, I'm new to embroidery. I mean, I have got an embroidery machine, but it's a lot more interesting to hand embroider. I hope my partner doesn't watch this because he bought me the machine. But I tend to use that for quilt labels when I make someone a quilt. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this slow stitching. And you know, something like this can take me a whole day to do because, you know, I mean, you have got other things to do in the day, haven't you? But, you know, I think I spent a good few hours on this. I mean, I'm not particularly quick, and sometimes I have to undo the stitching I've done because it's not quite neat. But, yeah. So that's my miniature project. So there are 2 items I'm working on for Thimble Tuesday, and this is the Season Blessings 2 by Lila Studios, and I'm working on the spring one, and this is how far I've got now. So I think last time I spoke to you I'd only just done these 2 flowers, and I should say I'm 50% through now with this particular project. It's cross-stitched on 32 count Belfast linen, and I'm using some of the call for threads and some from my stash. These are great for stash busting your threads. So yeah, I do struggle, I must admit, seeing where to put the needle next. So I'm using these Maggies. You can see them. I think I got these from Amazon. They come from the USA. So yeah, that's that one. So the next one is A Year in the Life Of. This was a kit I purchased from Lovecrafts. It's on 16 count AD. I think last time I spoke to you I was completing this March one, and I've now completed the April window. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind, but next Tuesday I'll be working on the May one. So this is a project bag, by the way. I made, I think I made this last year, and it was from a tutorial. The channel was called Whitney Sews, so I'll pop a link into that because I love this, because you've got this bit here and then you've got the top, which I love. I love this bag. So this is the Jones cardigan. I'm knitting this for my youngest grandson. It's a pattern by Tin Can Knits, and it's from an ebook called The Great White North. I always get this wrong, but anyway, if I'm wrong I'll put the thing in down below, the title. But this is a lot of cabling and moss, or some people call it seed stitch. Now last time I spoke to you I was here, and now I've done from there to there. Middle of a row here, which isn't ideal, but I'm just in the process of splitting off, as you can see there, for the sleeves. That'll be the underarm, and then they'll have to go on to waste yarn while I knit one of the fronts up, because this is knit, as you can see, bottom up. I'm knitting these on my fixed circular Addies 4mm. I do enjoy these needles because they're fixed. There's no bumps to get over as such, and they just glide off these needles. I really do enjoy knitting on them. So let me tell you a little bit more about the yarn I'm using. So, I hate it when it looks all messy. Right, this is the yarn. It's by Stylecraft. I'll show you the label. It's called Recreate because it's all recycled yarn. So there is some wool in this one actually. There's 40% wool, and the other is all is acrylic and polyester, and it's all recycled, and it's a double knitting weight. Now it says it's 100 grams, but I can tell you that it does go quite a way, this yarn does, because I think it was only about here that I joined for my new ball. So from all this was done from just one skein, and then I've joined there. So yeah, it's quite good on the meterage. So that's that. And then my second project I am working on, because I wanted some mindless knitting to do, is my sock. Now I did say in one of my, I think it was the vlog where I talked at the beginning of the year about my goals and challenges for 2022, and I wanted to learn how to knit socks from the cuff down. I usually knit toe up and incorporate a fleagle heel. It's so easy, but I wanted to challenge myself a little bit. So I've chosen this pattern because it was free, I had this in my stash. It's the West Yorkshire Spinners Winwick Mum. I mean, lots of people knit these, but to me it's something new, so something different, because the heel, I think this is called the slip stitch heel, I don't know if I'm right, but I thought I would give this a go. Now, I did cast on more stitches than required because I like my socks quite slouchy and I don't like them tight around the cuff. Now, one thing I did do, it did say to cast on using the 3mm and then change to 2.5, and guess what I did? I forgot and carried on the 3, so the cuff looks a little bulky. The other problem I've got is I always knit magic loop, and usually I get it off to a T and I don't get a ladder, but this time for some reason I've ended up with ladders. You know, where you have that like jog, that join, you get one either side when you're knitting a magic loop. And I know there are ways where you can try and prevent that, so I've started to do that there, and that's a little bit better. As you can see, I've put a stitch marker in, and so when I knit across, when I get to the end, I will knit a few stitches and then transfer them to this wire, if you know what I mean. If you knit magic loop, you'll understand what I'm saying. But yeah, I like the wool. It's a West Yorkshire Spinners wool, and I'm quite enjoying it. I think I am contemplating actually switching to my double pointed needles, but we'll see how I feel. But there we go, that is my socks. I like to have, I've also got another project, but I haven't decided yet what to knit. It was the King Cole wool, and you may recall a couple of vlogs ago I was going to knit a Marie Walling cardigan from her, I think it's the Bloomsbury book, and I was knitting the Frances cardigan, but the wool just didn't lend itself to that pattern, so I've decided to frog it, and I'm still wondering what to knit with that wool. But anyhow, there we go. So that's my woolly project. So Thursday is another thimble day where I work on cross stitch. I've got 2 full coverages on the go, and currently I'm working on this one. It's called Mickey's Coffee, and I've progressed quite a lot with this. As you can see now, we've got Mickey Mouse's ears and the start of his eyes. I've got his nose here, and you can see his hand. And I just love this. I'm glad I've taken it out of the frame, because I keep on working on it, and you can, tonight I'll be putting this back in and working on it again. Every day I work on this, I can't help it. So usually early in the morning when I wake up, I make myself a cup of coffee and I just sit there stitching, listening to a podcast just for a couple of hours, and then at night when I go to bed, I have an hour on it. So I am devoting quite a lot of time to that. So Friday is my Friday sews. That's a concept initiated by Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room. So most sewing vloggers will hashtag their vlog with Friday sews. I must admit, I haven't been, I've not lost my Sojo, but I haven't been as interested as I used to be in sewing clothes for myself. So over it, I've just bought out a new ebook which I've purchased, and it's got some beautiful vintage inspired patterns in there, and I think it's called Vintage. But anyway, I've started making a Vera dress, so I'll share all that with you next week when I upload a Friday sews. So there we go. So Saturday, I haven't been working on my block of the month quilt, and that's another club I've joined, where I attend a workshop once a month at Liberty Bell, which is a quilting, well, she does quilting, all sorts of different crafts. They're more like from a homespun ethos, which I love. So yeah, I haven't had the time, but I've got a workshop tomorrow, so I'll need to really work on this block of the month through May, which I have diarised. And then on Sunday I usually select a project to work on, but as you can see, it's been my Mickey's coffee. I've been to the charity shop this morning, and I always have a little route in there because they usually sell quite a lot of linen and embroidery threads and things. And I picked up this pattern. It's an Aran pattern, and it's a bit like a Gansey, what we call a fisherman's Gansey, but I thought I particularly liked the neckline. My partner doesn't like anything restrictive round his neck. I also picked up this one. This is by Sirdar. We always say Sirdar. I've always known it as Sirdar. Some people call it other names like Sadea or Sirda, but I've always called it Sirdar. And yeah, that's the cardigan there. I like that. Always makes me laugh because on the back, Sirdar always, it's from Wakefield, and that's where my grandma and granddad lived. So this is a patterns baby book, and this is low birth weight to toddler, so I quite liked that one. Eleanor Burns Schoolhouse Hanging, that one. And I picked up these called pillow patches. So again, this is this homespun ethos. You know, it gives you all the patterns. So I thought, yeah, I quite like that. There's some more. I thought 50p wasn't too bad. And then I went into the garden centre last Sunday and I picked up this. It was on sale for £8, and it's a Cath Kidston stitch. Now, I love Cath Kidston, and I don't know anyone who doesn't, but it gives you quite a lot of patterns in here. So I'll show you these in more detail now. And I also, in the book, was this little, I think it's like a little purse what you make. Yes, it's got the zip in and everything. And it's a little cross-stitch. The next acquisition is another one from Liberty Bell, and it's called Angels Amongst Us. And this is a doll that you make. And she's made designed different aprons for the seasons. So each month you'll get the pattern for the season. So this month we've had the pattern for the doll, and you can see the doll hair there. I'm not going to get that out because, can you imagine? And I'm going to have to be very careful because I don't want to lose anything, but I've got the fabric. And yeah, I'm looking forward to making this doll, this angel. And then next month, I think that's when I'll get the first apron to make. So yeah, angels amongst us. Right. So I think that's it. Until next Friday when I upload a Friday Sews. Yeah, enjoy your week. Bye.